Pitch football at the Euros, brought to you by Downforce Radio.
They say life is a game, gotta have your goals. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball. Always wanna stop me, wanna run in the roll. Gonna dust it off, now watch me go. You gotta see it.
Hello and welcome once again to Pitch Football at the Euros. My name's Iain Chambers. This is the wonderful football reporter Abigail Davies and the one and only Ince, England legend. Too many clubs that you've played for to mention right here. But you're feeling a bit blessed for wear today, you alright?
No, I'm fine, mate. It's just a little bit hot today, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a little bit hot. No, it's okay. Just listen, it's been great. Glad to be back. Let's get going, eh?
Yeah, it's exciting because we've got 3 good games to look forward to today. We've got Wales versus Switzerland, which I'm sure that you are itching to get into.
It's the one everyone's been looking forward to. I mean, I know last night that was a nice little warm-up, but 2 o'clock today, that's the one everyone's here for. Yeah. That's why you've shown up today, isn't it, Paul?
Did you say everyone's here for?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm here for that game.
I was including you.
No, I'm interested to see how Wales play. I'm really looking forward to it today, to be honest.
So that you can wind me up if we lose.
When you lose.
Oh, he says when.
It's going to be a long day.
Yeah, then you've got Denmark versus Finland, and then the evening game is Belgium versus Russia. What do you think of that trio of games to kick us off?
Listen, I mean, they're good games, you know what I mean? Especially the Denmark game, Finland game. Pukki's playing for Finland. I love Pukki.
Yeah, you're a big fan?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, you know. I'm glad he's back in the Premier League with Norwich. Deserves to be back in that position. So, looking forward to that game. Wales game takes care of itself. I'm a little bit nervous for Abby. I must admit, I'm a little bit touched nervous for Abby. I can sense the nerves today. But, I hope to do well because obviously Giggs is a good friend of mine. He's not in charge of the team. It's Pagey, so hopefully they do well. So, and the Belgian game, one of the favourites of the competition, so it's all up for grabs, isn't it?
Absolutely. We'll get stuck into Wales discussion a little bit more later on, Abby, but you must be feeling a little bit anxious now because this is where it gets real for your team.
Absolutely, and I think the mistake that I made personally was giving it the big one yesterday because it's come round to today and I am sweating for more than one reason. It's not just the sun. I'm feeling a bit nervous. I feel like I overdid it with the Wales chat yesterday and I've learnt a lesson. So, I won't be making that same mistake. Hopefully, Kiefer Moore will prove why I was so confident yesterday. But, as Paul said, 3 really cracking games. I'm a big Christian Eriksen fan. I really, really rate him. I think what he did at Spurs, fantastic. And I don't think, it took them so long to replace his attributes and his qualities. They haven't made it past the group stage since 2004 in a European Championship. So, really looking forward to all 3 games. It's a
I mean, to be fair, you mentioned Christian Eriksen, he's done well because he went to Ince Milan. Within 3 months they were trying to sell him. But the last probably 3 months he's kind of rejuvenated himself. Conte gave him some games and he's looked like the player that he was before he left Tottenham.
That's not easy to do, to kick back, because obviously he was such a fan favourite with the Spurs fans and he had a great career there, but just didn't click for him, did it?
No, it didn't, you know what I mean? But he's a wonderful player. And on his day, on his game, he could be dangerous. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes today.
And it's the long-range shots, isn't it? At Spurs, you always used to see him taking them on from outside the box. And I think it's qualities like that in this type of tournament, I think that'll catch teams out.
Yeah, and he'd be the main man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some players like to be the main man.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
You like to be the main man.
Yeah.
Do I?
You like to be the big man.
I don't know where you get that from, Chambers.
You see, life is a game, gotta have your goals. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball. Always wanna stop me, wanna run in the roll. Gonna dust it off, now watch me go.
So, the producer insisted we try and say the name of Gianpaolo. So should we have a go? I think I said it right. Gianpaolo?
Gianpaolo.
You go?
Gianpaolo.
Oh!
So if you put that palo at the end, it sounds
rapid fire.
Yeah, rapid fire. I don't know what you're saying. All it is a palo.
Gianpaolo. Look, a bit of news coming out of the England camp. Our first game is on Sunday. Look, Maguire is back in training. However, we might see, there's a bit of news coming out that it's going to be a back 3. We touched on this yesterday. Would you be a bit concerned to see a back 3 for England?
It depends what back 3 goes with. I mean, from what I gather and what I'm hearing, they're talking about, Walker, Stones and Luke Shaw. Now listen, Luke Shaw's played a couple of games there for Manchester United, so he's not foreign to it.
Yeah.
And Kyle Walker's played there for England before. And it's funny because we played that type of system in the Euro 96.
Yeah.
With Pearce and Gary Neville. So it can work. It can work, but to put up in a big tournament like that first game against Croatia, it's a big ask.
It's
you know
a
what I mean?
risk, isn't it?
It is a risk, and that's why, I mean, it's great that Harry Maguire's back in training.
Yep.
It's great. Can you throw him straight back in? 'Cause he's not played for probably 2 months now. It is a big risk. But listen, I'm sure they're working on it now as we speak. Whether he goes that way, I'm not too sure, because it is a big risk for me.
If that does work with that back three, are you then still bringing Harry Maguire straight back in? If that works, you keep a clean sheet and they're playing well.
Doesn't matter. I think as a manager, you kind of look at. You don't look at the winning team, you look at the teams you're playing against and how you can exploit them. And that ultimately, you know, as I said, he's a leader of the team. You don't have leaders in that team. You can't just have people who haven't experienced it. And he's part of the spine, you know. And it's easy to say, "I want to beat Croatia, so let's keep the same team."
Yeah.
Because the Scotland game is going to be completely different, you know, and you need experience when you play against the Scotland team. So having him back would be a great boost, not just for us, but for the England team.
Do you think could we see Ben White play? Do you think he's earned a spot?
I don't think he's starting in that 11 at all. I think he's there purely as cover, and especially if you do play a back four, I think he's got more of a chance in slotting into a back four personally than a three.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't think he's ready. Listen, I mean, he's been wonderful the last couple of years, you know, at Leeds and at Brighton this season. He's been a top player, and he can play middle of the park. So, but to throw him straight into that high octane game, you know what I mean, which is important we get something from. I think he just might wait, you know what I mean? Listen, if he was going to play Ben White, he would have picked him from the start.
Yeah.
What do you get from, you know, people always say when youngsters come into the setup, you know, and people say, oh, it's just great to be around the dressing room because they learn so much from that. What is it that they learn from that?
Well, listen, I think when you talk about youngsters and we talk about Foden and Mount and Grealish, I don't think they'd be saying that now. They won't be saying, oh, it's just great to be around Harry Kane and Harry Maguire.
I'm talking more about the Wales setup with Colwell coming in. You know, someone who's never ever experienced.
This is not an England conversation.
We're playing today.
Yeah, I know that, but we're talking about England. You keep wanting to throw Wales in all the time. You know, I can't concentrate, Abby.
We're the important
Yeah, you're important today.
I mean,
you're
it does
important.
look like we're already holding roses. So come on. Nobody's throwing me a dragon here.
Yeah, so I don't know who you're talking about. Who's you talking about?
No, so, you know, I meant more generally. Yeah. So, you know, we've got some youngsters coming through, and it's players who've never experienced, because obviously, as we mentioned yesterday, Foden has had that big game experience.
Yes.
So for players who haven't had that and are now in the squad, and people say, you know, it's just important to be in that environment. What do you get from that?
Listen, I think you get the kind of feel and taste for tournament football. You know how it works, because a lot of these players are going there thinking, well, most of the days they're going to be doing nothing. You know what I mean? Resting, sitting,
playing Uno. Apparently, the England team.
Uno that they're playing.
Yeah.
You know, sitting in rooms. Yeah. You know that type of, you know, how the process of European football for 3, 4, 5 weeks, how long they've been in the tournament for, is hard to take, and just, you know, getting to know different players. That, you know, not the players that you work with 24/7 at club football, but players you don't even know, and dealing with big stars, and oh well, there's Harry Kane, or there's, you know, that type of feeling. Get over those nerves where, you know, I deserve to be for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't be kind of.
Did you have any of that when you first started playing for England? Were there any players where you were a bit starstruck?
No, none.
Absolutely not.
None whatsoever. I did when I went to Man United.
Yeah.
Because Brian Robson was my idol, so to say, there's Brian Robson, I'm playing with Brian Robson. But no, England, I didn't really, to be fair, because a lot of them were my mates anyway. But no, club level, yeah. But these young players, they were kind of starstruck when they walked through the door. 2 days down the road, they get the feel for it, they get comfortable, they're training with them, you know. And it's always nice when you're a young kid that a big player like Maguire or Kane comes over and has a chat to you. You know what I mean? Because or keep them off. Yeah, you know what I mean? No, it's true, because they, you know what I mean, they kind of feel more at home when someone comes over and says, "Oh, listen, don't worry, if you need anything, I'm here." That type of stuff. You know?
We touched on it yesterday about the camaraderie, you know, in the camp, and it's something that didn't exist years ago, where teams would sit within their individual squads.
Correct.
But like, now it seems as though everyone's getting along really well, but there's still got to be some competitive rivalry when it comes to getting a place, right? There's got to be still some heat between some of the players. Yeah,
for sure, definitely. I presume that's the case in Wales. You know what I mean? As much as you are mates and you're having a laugh, in the back of your head you're thinking, I should be playing instead of him. Or I'm going to show him what I can do. You know what I mean? And it's good. You've got to have that. You've got to have that competitiveness. Otherwise, what's the point of being there? You know.
And you thought that in the last warm-up game, where it hadn't been announced who was going to replace Trent. And you're thinking all these players are playing together and having to, but realistically they're competing for that final place on the plane as well.
Yeah, it is, and sometimes it's hard because.
Or just trade in your case, because you're only going down the road.
Yeah, true, yeah. No, but it's tough though, because when you get in that squad, you kind of know as a player what the team's going to be roughly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just from the qualifying games, and as long as they're fit. You know, and sometimes it can be old because you're hoping, well, if someone's get injured, you think, oh, got half a chance here.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be injured because you want them to play, you want to progress as a team. But then someone gets injured, you think, oh, I might be in here.
Yeah.
But when you go on to, like, to today, you know, come tomorrow when England play, they know most of the team that's going to play. You know what I mean? So, but they're always kind of hoping, well, someone might get injured, someone might get sent off. It leaves a gap for me as well. I can play. So there's always kind of little things going in the back of your head where you wish you want to play. You know, you want to be involved.
Well, Southgate in particular, he knows he's starting 11, doesn't he, for Sunday already?
I would have thought so. I mean, as I said, I don't think he can throw Maguire in.
No.
I think it feels it's one of those games where if he could just nick something, maybe 3 points, a point, then the Scotland games where, because listen, England-Scotland, it's the game.
I cannot. I mean, the thing is, I can't
game.
get excited about it yet because we need to get through Sunday first.
And
then we can really start to get our attention
that'll be
into
your bounce back game kind of thing.
Oh, come on now, Abby.
You'll be looking
Come
to
on now.
bounce back to keep yourselves in the tournament. So I get it, it's a huge game in that respect as well. England, Scotland. So completely get that for you guys.
Let's see what happens after today before you start to lay a mouth in it.
I just haven't.
Listen, we need to make sure that you download the Pitch Football app because we want your say on everything we discuss here on this show. We're here throughout the entire Euros and you can have your say too. Download the app, hit fan time, record yourself a little video of you responding to either Paul, myself or Abigail and you could feature on our show. So why would you not want to do that? One more time. Can you just say Pojan Palo one more time?
Poggio Palo.
Oh, it makes it sound so nice. One from you?
Poggio Paolo.
No, that's it.
I've got a little Welsh. I've got a
You
little
get a Welsh
spin.
tint, yeah.
I'll tell you
Mine's a little bit Italian, you know what I mean? Poggio Ballo. You know, Ballo.
I'll tell you what, we'll give Wales a good chunk of attention after the break. What do you reckon?
That's nice of you. That's very
What do you
noble.
think? Are you going to leave?
Terrible decision that is.
See you in a few.
They say life is a game, gotta have your goals. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball. Always wanna stop me when I'm running the ball. Gonna dust it off, now watch me go.
Are you feeling as confident as you're making out? Really?
No, absolutely
okay,
not.
good.
No,
Let's get real then, shall we?
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of things, you know, when you look back to 2016, we just went in there to have fun. We didn't expect anything at all from that tournament, and I think there is an air of that this time. But you do, at the same time, you do think, can we replicate that? Can we do that again? I think the main thing for us is that we don't know our starting 11 this time around, and we don't know the formation. And, you know, we've talked a lot about it since we've been here, about how important having that target man, that number 9 is.
Yeah.
And Kiefer Moore, for me, has to start. But I'm not confident that Rob Page is going to do that. I just don't think in this tournament play, against someone like Switzerland, you can play a false 9. I don't know if you agree.
Listen, it's funny though because you know it's like when you watch Man City and they start playing with a false 9. Everyone thinks, oh, because Pep's doing it, we're going to try it in our teams, isn't it? You know what I mean? And you know, I think
does it work across the board?
It does. No, absolutely spot on. And I think Abby's absolutely spot on. I think Kiefer Moore has to start. You've got to have a target man.
Yep.
You know, you've got to have someone who have a pinnacle point who you're going to go to all the time.
And someone who can bully the back line as well.
You've got to keep the 2 centre halves working.
Yeah.
You can't have a team where the 2 centre halves of Switzerland are not being worked by anybody.
Yeah.
You know, so I think Kiefer Moore has to start for me. I think he's important for Wales if they're going to progress in this competition.
And as a defender as well, would you think you haven't got that same fear, have you? When someone who's, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big Harry Wilson fan, love Di Brooks, but you're not going to go into that match with the same fear if you're a centre half. If you've got a false 9 player in there, you haven't got this 6'5" lad who's also got a bit of pace. He's got surprisingly quick feet for a big man.
He's got lovely feet. He's a lovely touch. He reminds me a bit of Peter Crouch to a certain extent. You know, lovely feet. You know what I mean? But this is why I said to you. I know you're upset about this. Why Robson Carnew's not been playing because he's someone who can run down the channel.
You're upset for the wrong reasons, though, right?
No, but it's true though because that type of striker, you know, who can run down the channels. You know what I mean? And split up the defence. He would have been perfect for that. You know, but listen. Kiefer Moore has to start. All this false 9 and trying to be clever and that, you know, doesn't work for me. You know, Wales have got to go and take risks if they're going to progress. They can't be all this defensive and get 10 men behind the ball. You know, they've got some quality players. You know, Dan Jones, Brooksy. You know, they've got some really nice Harry Wilson.
How much is that hurting you?
Huh?
How much is that hurting you?
A lot.
To be nice to me.
I don't know. I'm just about to jump over there in a minute. But no, they've got some good players. They've got some talent in there. So what's the point of having Kiefer Moore up there? And not utilise the talent behind him.
He's right, isn't he? The talent's there, but you have to take risks.
Absolutely, and I think when you do play Kiefer Moore, it's the players that are behind him that then can show their flair. You know, if Aaron Ramsey is fit, and I've been praying to the football gods that he will be, because he is, in my opinion, I said yesterday, I mentioned it, he's as important to me and to Wales, not me personally, to Wales, to the national football team, as your Gareth Bale. And I think the thing that we've got, and I don't think as England fans you can understand it as much, because you've got a bigger talent pool than we have. We're never going to have the resources you do. And we've got to then, you know, we can never carry someone in that team because we've not got the quality maybe in every single area that you can rely on. So, you know, we've got to have things like that togetherness. That's got to be a bigger part for us. And I think thinking back to the times, the Tosh era, where we had to sacrifice that success at that period for the good of our future, and that's paying dividends now. But all the players have to understand that, and have to understand as fans what we've been through, the heartache. You know, 2016 was the first major tournament of my lifetime, and I think that is something that every player carries with them and knows that significance.
Do you think Ramsey's still got the legs?
Good question.
He doesn't need them.
Listen, I mean, when you look at his Arsenal days, you know, the runs that used to burst into the box, goal scoring midfielder, a bit like Frankie Lampard, people like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. But he's had a lot of injuries, niggle injuries, and he's been out for, like, we're not talking about where you've been out for 1 week, 2 weeks. He's been out for 2 months, 3 months.
You hate to see it as well.
You do, especially a top player, a great player like him. And, you know, he went to Juve and, you know, hasn't really worked for him, so to speak, you know. And but, you know, Abby's right. He's one of the talisman of the team. But I always think Bale's the man. I think as a nation, if I'm Welsh, I'll be saying, if Bale can perform, we've got a chance. You know, because he's the one, when you talk about the resources that we've got at England, he's one of those that you've got at Wales. And I think it's about time he now starts to perform.
Bale has always got an iconic moment in his locker. You must be looking at him.
I mean, we've seen it for Real Madrid, haven't we? I mean, you know, in the earlier days, the Champions League final.
Some of the runs, like.
And I think, you know, he's going to be, and going on loan to Spurs was massive. Of course it was. He needed that game time, and I think that's something else that you look at the back end of the season and you think Ben Davies maybe hasn't played as much as you would have liked him to. But Dan James has started to get a bit more game time, but we've got a lot of players in and around that squad that you're thinking, you know, Ethan Ampadu, what's he going to be doing next season? And there's a lot of question marks going forward even. That we need them to be playing consistently, because we don't then have someone else to bring in. We don't have, you know, like a Wan-Bissaka sat at home that we could then bring in.
What did you make of Bale back at Spurs? It didn't start
well.
did it?
Well, that was Mourinho, wasn't it? You know what I mean? I mean, you don't bring someone from Real Madrid and pay him that amount of wages and have him sat on the bench.
Well, there was rumblings, wasn't it? It was injury and all that, but it was heartbreaking for Spurs fans just to see him sitting there.
But to be fair, I mean, we were lucky. I mean, Mourinho was lucky. There was actually no Spurs fans in the stadium at the time. Because they're claiming...
Oh, it had kicked off,
It kicked off, They're thinking Bale, Kane, Son. What a front three that is. You know, it's amazing, you know. And but towards the back end of the season, once Ryan Mason got in charge, he played him. And now you're getting someone he's not playing him, but he's scoring goals. You know, he's got a hat-trick for Tottenham. He looks like refreshed, he looks rejuvenated, he looks like he's ready to go. So the timing for Bale and for you guys is absolutely spot on, you know.
But then on the flip side of that, it was incredibly frustrating when he came in, because Joe Rodon is just left out of the matchday squad altogether. He's the best centre half that Spurs have. He is. He's only 22 years old. He's got absolutely every attribute. Spurs fans love him. But when Ryan Mason came in, he started his mates. And I think it's fair to say that he did prioritise. Nobody wanted Rodon out of that squad, and that was the biggest frustration for us. He's playing so well. He brings the way he brings the ball out. He's perfect. He's a perfect fit for Spurs. But that was it. So it was kind of bittersweet. Obviously, seeing Bale playing, great, but we need to be solid at the back as well. So having that game time for us.
So how do you think Wales are going to play? How do you think they're going to set up? You know, what do you think their tactics are going to be?
So I'm going to go 4 at the back.
Do you want to give us your starting 11?
Starting 11.
Let's do it.
So do you know what? in goal is the biggest issue we have, because you've got Hennessy, who's not really playing much, and then you've got Ward, who doesn't get game time either. You've got Adam Davies, who at least is playing for Stoke City. I think he kept 9 clean sheets in 13 and a half games.
Yeah, not good enough.
Your issue is you haven't got a high level of quality though.
No,
Hennessy's the one.
Yeah,
Hennessy's the one.
He's going to be the one that starts.
He's got to be the one, surely.
I'd go for a back four against Switzerland. I'd go back four. I'd have Ben Davies left centre back, and then I would go Joe Rodon, Nico Williams, Connor Roberts, Ampadu Joe Allen. I like Ampadu in front of the back four. I don't know about you, but I prefer him in front of the back four as opposed to as a centre back.
Plays the ball well.
Yeah, and then I'd go Rambo, Bale, Rambo.
Who's
Who
Rambo?
do I think I am?
Oh,
Who do I
Rambo.
think
Rambo?
I am? Like, I'm not mates with the lad.
Ince, you heard this?
Who's
You're
Rambo?
calling him Ince, so it's the
Yeah,
exact
but we're mates.
same.
We're mates.
I dyed my hair blonde like Aaron Ramsey, which means we're on a different level.
Well, it doesn't, because it's not blonde now, is it?
It's 2016. I got the memo
Stop
that
keep
he wasn't
mentioning-
going to do it
Stop
this
keep
time.
mentioning 2016, it's gone. All right, so you got...
I'll stop doing that if you stop mentioning 96. Actually, no, that's a big part of the
Oh,
show.
wow. Whoa.
Whoa. So you got Aaron Ramsey,
Yeah,
sorry.
and then Dan James, Gareth Bale, Kiefer Moore.
What do you think of that?
I think that's the best you can put out, isn't it?
There you
Think
go.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I like Harry Wilson.
I love Harry Wilson.
You know,
yeah,
you know, I like Brooksy. And I mean, he's starting to get back in because he had a bad injury at
Yeah,
Bournemouth, didn't
yeah,
he? So
yeah.
he looks like he's getting his game back together. So at least you've got some options.
Exactly.
You know,
which, you
which is
look at
quite nice, isn't it?
you look at that last campaign that
They're not
may
great
or may
options,
not
but you've got
have
some
been
options.
2016. And,
They're not great options, but she's got some options.
no, they are better options off the bench than we had in that last campaign. I'm going to not mention the year, but I'm still
Yeah,
going to talk about it.
2016. Yeah.
When you actually just look at the group,
Yeah,
you know, you got to put Italy as likely to finish top.
absolutely.
Would you say that Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales, Paul, are all on the same sort of level?
I like the Turkey team. You know, I think they could be dark horses.
Yeah. What do you like about them?
I just think they just the way they play. You know what I mean? They will go and attack teams. You know what I mean? I think they've got some really good players. And they all seem to do well. The only thing that worries me about the Turkey team is the discipline.
Yeah.
You know, it does, because I've played in Turkey and Galatasaray and all those teams, and they always kind of lose their discipline somewhere if they feel like aggrieved by something that someone's decision that they've made. Switzerland, you know what you get with Switzerland. They're like an English team.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, let's just like playing
got a good
Scotland or
core.
Wales. They've got
Yeah,
a good core.
yeah.
You know, they've got Xhaka in there. Xhaka. They've got enough good players in there.
Yeah.
But listen, I watched the Wales against France in the friendly.
Yeah.
And I thought, listen, they did well for a certain
sending
period of
off
time.
changed the game.
Yeah, you know, yes, it does. You know, it's
Yeah,
sending off
yeah.
that actually changed the game. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Wales not getting through this group stages. You know, I think they've got
Yeah.
a great chance. That's me saying
There
it.
you go.
See,
And
he
I'm
winds me up, but
drinking
he's
water.
actually-
It's not
That
vodka.
is- that's not vodka as
That's
well,
not
is it?
vodka in that. It's water. All right.
But, you know, going back to that sending off, I don't want to harp on about it, but I am still quite angry because
Yes.
neither team would have wanted that.
No.
France players came out and said afterwards they didn't want that to happen because they want an 11 against 11. This is
course.
preparation for a major
Yeah, of course
tournament.
it is, for sure.
And then it just turned out being they may as well just had a training session.
Yeah.
So what's the point in doing that? It wasn't. I mean, the handball rule, that's a section of its own. Do you know what I mean? But it shouldn't have been a
And
red
then
card.
you got your Welsh players having to work a lot harder because they're down to 10 men.
Exactly.
Fatigue,
Yeah.
injuries. Then you're struggling for the tournament.
Yeah.
Either way, this is your chance to set a tone for the tournament, isn't it? And you want to get off to a cracking start. Let's get some predictions.
I'm going to go Wales 2-0. Oh my God, I feel sick saying that.
Wales 2-0. Who's scoring the goals?
I'm going to go Joey Rodon, header. He's going to come up for a set piece. Joey Rodon, header, and Kiefer Moore.
What do you reckon?
I'm going to go Wales 1-0. Dan James
Love that.
on a counter-attack, down the left, cutting the side on his right foot.
Is
Bang,
this-
have some of that, 1-0 Wales. Here we go.
Bang, have
Love
some
that,
of that, he
love
says.
that.
You must be feeling amazing about this. Right, download the Pitch Football app if you haven't already. We want to have you having your say right here on this show. Hit the Fan Time tab, send us your videos, and we will show them right here on the show. And we'll be back, actually, with more Wales chat after the break.
More. Jesus.
They say life is a game, gotta have your goals. I got
Welcome back once again to Pitch Football at the Euros with me, Iain Chambers, Abigail Davies and Paul Ince. I don't know what just happened in that last quarter, but it seems like you two are starting to come together on the same page.
And he's even said that we need to talk about Wales again this quarter. I mean, there's no stopping
I mean, that was me. He's sweating about it, I think.
No, in the break, he did actually say, I'm so happy we're carrying on this discussion.
Look, Abby, all of the youngsters in your squad were brought together by Ryan Giggs. How difficult does that make things for Rob Page?
Well, he'll have worked with them quite a bit throughout the setup anyway, because a lot of players, you look at Joe Morrell, Matty Smith, they've come through a pathway system at Wales, so they'll have played together throughout the youth system, and that is so important to the Welsh success, having that pathway system. So the players are gelled and they'll know him. He's been around that setup. He understands it. So I don't think it'll have been an issue. Of course, the entire situation is a very difficult one for anyone before a major tournament.
Yeah.
And you know, we've had to deal with that as we've dealt with it. And I think, you know, we were discussing yesterday, you know, when you're in school and a supply teacher comes in and you just think, I can do whatever I want. We're not going to do that. But is there an element of it? I don't think so at all. You will not get that. These are players, as I mentioned, who understand what it means to put that shirt on. This is a major tournament, a chance for them to represent Wales. Yeah. They're not going to be doing that.
Look, they're obviously going to play with pride, but there's a different level of respect when it comes to a fresh manager coming in, and it's a job for him to sort of capture that from the players when they were all backed by your old mate.
Yeah, very good friend of mine, Ryan. And listen, it's a shame. You know, I spoke to Giggsy a couple of weeks back, and you know, he would love to be in it. You know, he would love to be in it, and he still sees it as his team. You know, Robert Page has got a big job in his hand. You know, because it's like that. If as a player, if you know really it's not your manager and Ryan Giggs is still the manager, what's the kind of mindset you go into that? You know, if you had to lose the first game, you know, the pressure's going to be on Robert Page to produce. And I've heard him talk the last couple of weeks, Page, and he seems confident. He seems to know what he's done. Abby's right. He's probably done a lot of coaching sessions with that team.
For sure.
Obviously hasn't done the 11v11 that Ryan Giggs would have done, because that's what managers do. They let the coaches coach, and when it comes to the business end, then we take over and do the 11v11. So he's probably done that. He's been there long enough now for the players to kind of understand, because we don't know what's going to happen with Giggs next year, whether he's going to get back in the job or not. We don't know. But so as far as I'm concerned, if Pagey does well, he might have that job for the next 3 or 4 years. So the players have to respect that. And you know, don't think you can take liberties because, you know, Ryan's not there. You know.
And how would it have been? You know, you've been in that hot seat as a manager. How would it have been for Robert Page, especially knowing the different challenges that he's facing walking into that dressing room? How would you have felt walking into that dressing room?
I'd have been fine. Wouldn't have given me any problems whatsoever.
You'd have been chilled, wouldn't you?
I'd have been chilled. I mean, but no, listen. I think with Robert Page, I think it's always tough when the manager's gone or been sacked and you get the post after, because you kind of think, well, I've got to put my own kind of slant on it. I've got to give him my own ideas. You know what I mean?
But do you though? That's the thing, isn't it?
But you do, because I think, you know, you hear managers who get sacked and the number 2 takes over. They said, I've been dying to be a manager. This is where I want to be. You know what I mean? And I've got to do it my way. And I'm sure Page is going to do it his way.
It's different at international level, though, isn't it?
It is. Listen, will he be speaking with Giggsy on the phone all the time?
What do you reckon?
He will be, definitely.
You know,
so? But I don't think Giggs. I think Giggs is the type of person who say, listen, it's your baby. You know, you go and take it as far as you can take it.
Is it a case of like, what's not broke, don't try and fix it?
Yeah, and I think it's very difficult to change things tactically at international level, especially, you know, for Wales. Like I said, we've got a smaller talent pool. You work with what you've got. It's very different to club level. I think it's more about the man management at international level. I think that's one of the main reasons Chris Coleman did so well at, you know, with our national side, because he's got that. He's very personable with them, and he gets on with them. He understands them, and I think that's such an important thing. I remember you said the other night, you know, that you got to know, didn't you, what every player liked, what they enjoyed doing, so you could have those conversations. And I think that's even more important at international level.
I'm sure the players do back Page, but you know, at club level, when sometimes a manager might come in for a manager that the players preferred, you can sometimes see them not players like work as hard or like initiate trying to get them out, you know. But internationally, a tournament of this magnitude, you're never going to see that, are you? Because there's too much pride in in the competition.
Yeah, competition, you wouldn't expect that. It does happen. It's a completely different concept, you know what I mean? But I just think with Pagey, you know, he will have his own ideas and he will have his own selections. You know, he won't be on the phone to Iain saying, "What do you think? Who do you think I should start?" Or, you know, against the first
He'll go
game.
for it.
Yeah, go, listen, this is my team now. This is how I'm gonna do it, you know?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Belgium.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we're moving on. Look at
The
this.
Welsh chat is over.
Take
We
a
can breathe.
deep breath.
I've seen you prodding him for,
Move
about
on,
4
Iain.
minutes now.
Move on.
You did well, though.
He
You've
did.
done well, thank you. Thank
Let's
you.
first talk about De Bruyne. He's been named in Belgium's squad despite suffering that nasty
Yes,
facial injury
horrendous.
in the Champions League. It's actually an acute fracture of the nose and an orbital fracture of his left eye socket. Before we move on, that's just a horrendous injury, isn't it?
You know what? When I saw it in the Champions League final, I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't. But then for De Bruyne to come off in the Champions League final, it must be.
Yeah.
You know, because he's world class. You know, he's one of the best players in the world. And you know, when you saw what the damage was done, you know, I couldn't believe it. You know, and then I started thinking, is he going to be fit for the Euros?
Yeah.
Because as much as I want England to win it, I want to see the best players perform on the best stage.
Of course.
And he's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
You know.
And he's their leader, isn't he? He's the player that wants to drive them on finishing third. That's not acceptable anymore, and he's
for
the
Belgium,
one that
no.
he's the one that will be no, for England it would be, but you know, for Belgium that's not acceptable anymore. So you know, he is that lead playmaker, and he's the one I think that keeps them all in check, and he's so vital for their success. It's the same at Manchester City.
Well, no matter what the injury was, you'd expect him to get on that plane, wouldn't you? Just on the off chance that he can play.
For sure. Even if it's not the first game, you know, I think the group they've got, they should get through pretty comfortably. You would have thought. So it's all about timing, you know, for Martinez and. But they've got so many top players.
They have. I mean,
you know,
the
it's
thing
unbelievable
is, this team has
chambers.
been labelled as the dark horses for what feels like forever now. But like you mentioned there, they've got a team full of, you know, Premier League talent as well. But who would you say, other than De Bruyne, are some of the key players in this squad?
Well, you've got to look at Lukaku, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's been phenomenal. I mean, I was livid, you know, when we let him go at Manchester United. You know, 25 goal season. Every time I did it at Everton, did it at Old Trafford, and then you let him go. And now United's trying to get a striker. That says it all. But Lukaku's he's on fire. Inter Milan, you know, winning the championship there. Hazard, another one who I think. He's had a bad time at Real Madrid. He really, really has. And, you know, we see what he was like at Chelsea. He's a wonderful, wonderful player, but he's had injuries.
Plagued,
you know,
isn't he?
He's played with injury. Then I like Tillemans, you know, midfield.
I love Tielemans. He was
I
going
think
to be
he's
my
been
pick.
amazing,
Yeah.
you know, for Leicester this season. But you can go on and go on.
But the thing is, you've got Dendoncker coming in, who we've seen as well in the Premier League for Axel Witsel, who may or may not be able to start. I think that might be. I'm interested to see how that works, because I think that could be, if there is a weak link, it'll either be, you know, you've got some aging defenders in there,
and if they got
so who aren't getting that much game time at the moment. So I think it's very difficult when you look through their attacking players, their midfield. You know, you've got so much strength there, but then if you are to be super critical and pick a weakness, I think it would be those aging defenders.
But I don't think, you know, you mentioned they've got so much strength going forward. You know, I don't think they have, to be fair, because you go past Lukaku, you know, and you think Batshuayi's not really played a lot. Benteke, bang out of form. You know, you've got Hazard, who's been injured. I mean, Torgan Hazard's brother's been okay. So you don't really...
It's not the same level,
you know, it's not the same level.
No,
so from that point of view, I don't think they've got a lot. They're so reliant on De Bruyne and Lukaku being fit. You know, if they're going to go and win this tournament. But they are one of the favourites. And they said they've progressed, and everyone's been saying how great they are, and they haven't achieved anything yet. And it's a bit like England, so to speak. You know what I mean? We've been talking about generations of top players, but not won anything. I think Belgium are in this situation now.
For Belgium, it just feels like they are reaching that crescendo to me.
You reckon?
I really do.
It's definitely do or die for this squad, isn't it?
You would have thought so, wouldn't you? I mean, the thing is, you say that, and you know, crescendo, and you know, this is our time. You know.
I know you've been saying that for years.
No, I have. I've been saying it. Like, you know, we look at the squads, and you look at you know, the 2002 squad. You know, with Gerrard and Beckham and Scholes and that. You think, oh, this is a generation. You know, Ferdinand. This is the time. This is it. And we failed. So there's a lot more pressure on Belgium. You know, I was said. I mean, especially for Martinez, I think if he doesn't do well, I think he moves on. You know, I think he moves on. So I think so. Listen, he's been tapped about for a few jobs, isn't he? He could have got the Spurs job, or so. But they're one of the favourites, and there's pressure on them. For the once, there's expectation on Belgium.
Well, Ince, you mentioned yesterday that you think if England don't make it to the semis, it's a failure. Is that the same? Is that the same for Belgium? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I actually think Belgium need to go and win it. I do.
The biggest difficulty for Belgium is going to be avoiding us in the knockout stages. That's going to be their biggest worry.
Who do you mean? Do you mean England?
Wales.
Listen,
Welsh.
Listen, when the whole world, whole of Europe is talking about the Belgians and how good they are, and they've got riches of talent, you know what I mean? And they've been talking about it for the last 3 or 4 years now. Now it's time for them to produce, you know.
It is.
And you know, and it ain't going to be easy, you know, because the French have got a very good squad and all, and so have the English. But I think if Martins doesn't do it this time, I think he might go and start doing club football.
And we all know it only takes one Hal Robson, Carnu Cruyff turn, doesn't it?
But he's not here this time, is he?
I know.
Just so you remember.
I just want to touch on Hazard again, because he has actually admitted himself yesterday that he's not 100%. Does that mean he can't play a big role? I don't think he does.
No, he's going to be an impact player.
Yeah.
You know, as I said,
You bringing him on, or
I'm bringing him on. I'm not starting him.
No.
I'm not starting him. I don't think he's ready to be started. You can't throw these players in when I've not had a lot of club football. You know, just throw them to big games like that. But you know he can do special things. Yeah. You know, and you know when you see him coming on, especially when the game opens up. You know what I mean? The Belgium go 1-0 up. The team have to go and attack to get back in the side. Plenty of space for Hazard, come and do his stuff.
Amazing
game
runs,
over.
great.
You know, and but I feel sorry for him because that Chelsea was amazing, and I was just pleading it when he went to Real Madrid. He was going to do exactly the same, and he's just being hampered by injuries. And
it's another shame, isn't it?
But when he went there, it was, you know, he was a superstar at Chelsea, and he'd already secured legendary status there. But when he went to Spain, it was kind of like, how are Chelsea going to adapt?
I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball.
Speaking of distractions, Ince, I keep seeing Spencer Oliver walking around behind our cameras. We're going to bring
He's
him back
trying
on
to get
again.
on the show again, isn't he? It's
We're
embarrassing.
Bring him back on.
It's embarrassing.
Boxing legend after the break.
Spencer Oliver, shall we get a baby chair for him? Where's a baby chair?
They say life is a game, gotta have your pose. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball. They say life is a game, gotta have your pose.
Welcome back to Pitch Football at the Euros with me, Iain Chambers, Abigail Davies. You know this man. I always give him an introduction despite him never needing one. It is legendary Paul Ince. And look at this. Yeah. We've gone back to a foursome right here.
Well, I feel a little bit left
three
out.
and a half. Is it 3.5?
I feel a little bit left out. I've jumped in on this last slot because I've seen my spot ain't even gone cold and you've moved in, Chambers. It's out of order. You know my connection with Ince, and you've moved in, and he's turned against me.
I haven't turned against you.
I'm coming back.
You know this is former boxing champ Spencer Oliver is with us. Spence, you were that much fun on yesterday's episode.
Yeah.
We just have to have you back, and you're leaving Portugal, aren't you, today?
I am, mate. I'm off. Yeah. So I've been here 3 days. Obviously, the team's now at an all-time low because it's been quite a heavy session. So, yeah, I think they've asked me to leave and come back in the final week. I'm looking forward to coming back. Do you know what? We've had a ball, haven't we? We've had a
great time.
We've had a great time.
Yeah. Well, listen. I know that you two are good friends. Just remind us how long ago it was when you met for the first time.
I was about, was it 20 years?
20 plus.
Well, when was Nigel fighting? He was fighting in the 90s, wasn't he?
90s, same as me.
So that was it. So it's probably longer than that, same as you.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely delighted that he was coming out because I've not seen him for many years. You know what I mean? I met him a couple of times in Manchester. I was at the traffic lights, wasn't
that's right.
You know what I mean? When you was driving that Mini that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
But
no,
3 days was enough, wasn't it? 3 days was enough. You're done now.
Just putting it out there. We was in Manchester. We was in cars, but we was at traffic lights. We weren't anywhere else.
Right, yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
But he's been great. He really has. You know what I mean? It's great to see him back again.
We had good fun. I didn't even know actually that Paul was originally coming out here because we booked up to do some other little documentary.
Yep.
And obviously I knew the show was going on, and Susanna was like, "Oh, Paul Ince said, it's great you're coming out. Bring your golf club." Well, you didn't tell me he's coming out. I would have booked a week.
Let's talk about this actually for a week. Hold on, because I was working yesterday afternoon, but I was meant to be playing golf with Ince, yourself. Another lovely chap who's around here called Derek.
Yeah.
But am I right in thinking that Spencer pulled out?
Yeah, but he's got some previous because the day before that he was meant to go down to the sea and he pulled out of that one. And then he went for lunch yesterday afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
He came back with a stomach like that. He looked up at the sun. He said, "Not for me. No golf today."
Oh,
is that not true or not?
man.
I mean, you're
That's
not
true.
even coming with
That's
a real
true.
excuse.
Derek's a guilty party, but Derek passed the buck because Derek's like, this is Derek's place.
Yeah.
You're dribbling restaurant, and it's, and I thought,
Great restaurant.
It's
Yeah.
a fantastic restaurant, like brilliant fun. This place has been a host of every evening, really, and every day. But yeah, he threw me under the bus a little bit, Derek, because it's his gaff and he's looked after me. I accepted it. I'll take one for the team. Not a problem.
You all right with that?
Rubbish.
Okay.
I love rubbish. That bit.
Abby, 20 years of friendship right there. You'd like to think that Spencer knows a lot about Mr. Ince.
I think he probably knows
Everything.
everything.
Listen, I know more about Mr. Ince than I do football.
The thing is, he's giving it the big one. He's now the one setting himself up for failure
Well,
here
he doesn't.
because haven't we got something
We
planned
have.
for him?
What
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Oliver doesn't realise is that I've put together a bit of a Ince quiz. We're going to find out right here, right now on
We're
the
only on
show.
a social buzz.
How you feeling? How you feeling?
Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling very nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Glad you wore black, so
I
the sweat's not
feel
seeping
like,
through.
all of a sudden I feel like I need a wee.
Yeah.
It's a nervous wee, isn't it?
There's quite a
Your
few.
flight's now in half an
Starts
hour.
flinching. When he starts flinching, like he starts doing that, he's under pressure.
Not shoulder roll.
His lips trembling.
He's got a dancer
I
lips.
mean, I picked Paul's lip up 6 times yesterday.
All right, let's start this off.
Yeah.
Abby, I want you to keep tabs on how many points he gets.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Disastrous.
What is Paul Ince's full name? Middle name included.
Oh.
Ince.
You're going there, Chambers, are you?
Yeah, I'm going there.
You're going there.
Are we?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay.
Easy.
Yeah, you know this.
Paul.
Yeah. Here we go.
He changed it by default
Wait, is that
yesterday,
him?
mind.
Is that him up?
What? What's wrong?
It's like a weigh-in.
Is the lip going? Pick me lip up.
Yeah, the shoulder start going up. Like my ox start.
Adam. Adam.
He's going for Adam. Middle name Adam.
How do you know that?
Is it?
No.
No, I knew it was Gerard.
No, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's actually, I want to make sure I get the pronunciation right here, Ince. It's Paul Emerson Carlisle Ince.
Correct, Mundo. Pecci.
That's what you said.
Pecci.
Pecci.
Didn't
Yes.
get there yet, mate.
Well, it wasn't Adam.
No, I was just testing him.
Where's he get Adam from? It's called Paul Adam. How does that work?
You whispered it to me and I thought that's what he said.
Ince, where do those...
All right, so we've established I'm no good at lip reading. Anyway, move on.
What are the origins of those names?
Just Park, Emerson Park, Carlisle Park. That's what my dad decided to call me. So.
Love it.
Listen, I've got to be honest though. That was a stupid question. Is that like?
It's a tough
I
one,
know,
isn't it?
I know him as Paul Ince. I've known him.
Yeah,
I've never
Ince.
said. When we're out, I don't go.
Ince.
What's your middle names, mate? That'd be a bit weird.
I'm
wouldn't it?
calling
you
Paul
don't-
Emerson
I think
Carlisle.
Yeah, you don't go Paul Emerson Carlisle Ince. How are you?
I think you'd unfriend me, don't you?
Yeah.
If I had done that, you start thinking I'm a bit weird.
Yeah.
You're a bit weird
It's
anyway.
strange.
So we'll be
that's
nicer to
And
you
it means
here.
your chat is
on
nothing.
then.
You haven't got chat if
Go
you're
on then.
asking middle names.
You're going to get a point per team that you guess here, right? So, name all of the teams Ince has played for.
That's easy.
Easy.
Go on, let's go.
Man, you.
Come on, not even up.
Hold on. Take your time.
Are you turning your lips away from the camera
what's
just so
the
they
one
don't
when-
pick it
That
up?
was over there.
What was the team when you
Kick
sort
the
of-
ball.
You
Kick
walked
the
off-
ball, yeah.
Walked,
When you
walked
did a
off and
goal.
decided to retire because you'd had enough. What team was that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that
Yeah, I can't tell him, can I?
You can't tell him. We'll get to it.
Come on.
it's like
Don't worry about that one.
Team.
it's not very established by this time.
Can you
It's
not,
only obviously
yeah, but can you
on the
not
way
start
down.
with the big teams first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Man, you.
Yeah, and
You don't get extra points for saying the same one
Yeah,
more
and?
than once.
I actually respect...
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Ding!
one abroad.
Yeah. Big one abroad. Huge.
Milan,
Which one?
Which one?
AC,
Idiot, AC.
What?
It was Inter. I told you Inter. That.
Inter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I forgot, didn't I? Yeah. So you got to remember, right? So give it to me.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Bad injury. Head injury.
This is true.
Memory
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So 2.5.
I mean, Milan was good enough. Surely it's got to be half a point.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Quarter.
West Ham, Man United, Inter Milan, Liverpool, Middlesbrough, Wolves, Swindon, and Macclesfield Town.
That's the one I was thinking
That's
of.
the
Macclesfield.
Macclesfield, yeah.
I know
There
that
you
was,
go.
that was when he saw on the way out.
Yeah, was it?
I've got a feeling that this isn't going to go well, but I'm just enjoying showcasing Ince's wonderful football history here. All of the teams Ince has managed
Do you have a manager, was you?
That means she's getting no points.
Hold on. Why have we never discussed that? So what made you?
We're signing contracts, haven't we? We're
I
signing.
don't feel so worried about not being able to
Yeah.
count past 5 now. Like, I'm not going to need
that
any
money,
more.
I ain't got a
I
clue.
haven't got a clue. I didn't even know you managed.
It's fine. I've got some more personals coming up. So it was Macclesfield Town, MK Dons, Blackburn Rovers, Milton
You've done a
Keynes
bit.
Dons,
Yeah.
Notts County, and finally Blackpool.
When did you feel that? What season was that?
All right. What is Ince's golf handicap?
Oh, I know this.
Yeah.
6.
Is that right, Ince? You told me it was 12.
Yeah,
I
we heard 12.
I told you 12.
Oh,
We
you're
heard
trying.
12.
He's a bandit.
He told me 6.
I told you 12.
It is 6.
It's 6.
No,
isn't
'cause
it?
no,
Yeah.
It is.
He said
Yeah.
he said
He
it's
said
12
6.
on a good day, so anything else is going to be higher.
Listen,
12 on a good day.
You were playing golf with him, didn't you?
No, I'm not.
I was trying to nick.
What's your old Muller, son? Yeah.
I was trying to nick a few quid, wasn't I? You know, it's actually
It's 6.
6.
It is
6.
6.
You're a
Right.
player, aren't you?
He's a player. And
got an albatross
and
in his head.
hold on,
Yeah,
hold
I
on,
did.
hold on. And his son, by the way, plays off scratch.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'll give you something else for your show.
What
There
a
you go.
family.
That wasn't part of the quiz, though.
You don't get a
You
bonus.
don't get a point for that.
You don't get a bonus.
Now let's give him
No,
one.
it's not about points. They're just showing the friendship, like, you know.
Yeah,
All right.
cool.
So obviously you're well aware of Mr. Ince's incredible England career. Of course you are. How many caps has he had?
Easy, 56.
Oh, you're close. You're 3 off.
I know it was right.
53.
Spud that, son.
Yes, but I'm
That's good. That's good. That's as far as you got that.
going to give him that. to be
53.
fair.
53.
right?
Yeah, you've done well. That's good. That good
Yeah.
numbers, that, son.
All right. How many goals has Ince scored for England?
Why are you embarrassing me, son?
It's not embarrassing.
You're
You.
embarrassing me on the show.
No,
I'm going to go, all right, I'm going to
You know
go
what I
3.
mean?
I'm going to go 3.
3?
You just said it's going to embarrass you. I thought it's got to be ridiculously low.
It was lower than that.
Lower than that.
It was lower than 3.
It was 2, but that wasn't his main strength. Come on now.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the game was. I don't know about his career, mate.
They didn't count that because it's against San Marino. Well, I
All
did
right.
today.
Nah, we've got a couple of minutes left. I've got one more question for you. I
go on.
think this. Do you know what? If you get this, you get all the marbles. Brother.
Okay, let's do it.
This is for everything.
Go on.
All right. Which anniversary did Paul just celebrate with his wonderful wife?
Well,
You two are best mates, 20 years together. Come on now.
As in how long?
Yeah, how many years?
How many years?
Come on. Think about this.
that's about.
Yeah.
It's got to be 18 years now. It's got to be.
Not even kind of close.
When you were throwing shapes over there last night, I told you how many years it was because we were talking about it.
Go on.
Wasn't that 18? You got to go higher, mate.
We're playing a game
Let's
of
do
higher or
higher or
lower,
lower. Let's do
gentlemen.
higher or
Higher
lower.
Is it
or
that
lower?
long?
Yeah, that long, mate.
24 years, no way.
That longer than that,
Higher.
higher.
Really?
That banging head shit's got to you in it. That bang on your head, isn't it?
It's about sparring, wasn't it? It's going to be. It's
Higher.
got to be 28 years.
Higher.
Can't be my age. Can't be 32.
Lower.
31.
31 years.
You didn't. Is it that long ago that I was there?
Yeah, 31 years,
Thought
mate.
we've only known each other 20.
Look, you do definitely know lots about this man, and it has been a pleasure having you on the show.
Nah, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
I've got a couple of last-minute questions for you before we throw away. We've got about a minute left.
Yeah.
Quarantine, when you get back, how are you going to keep yourself entertained? You're going to watch the football?
Of course. Why not? You know, I'm
Yeah.
very patriotic. When we're in England and playing, mate, I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
going to back Wales as well, just going to love Abby.
Oh,
I think she's great.
Ince?
No, that's my second team.
That's our friendship done, mate.
Second team.
That's our friendship done. Don't back Wales, mate. You know, we're
All right.
English.
All right, I'm going just English, yeah.
Yeah. Even I'm happier with that. There's-
Yeah, no,
honestly.
I'm very patriotic.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to be watching England. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. I've got 5 days of quarantine before I've got to weigh in a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Speak with Paul about that before off air. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Of course.
Right, listen, Spencer, it's been a pleasure having you on. It's been great
Right,
getting to know you for the very
it's
first
been
time.
brilliant. Thanks so much.
And you've been a magnificent part of this show.
Yes.
That pretty much wraps things up for this episode, but make sure you go check out the Pitch Football app. You can download it wherever you get your apps and get involved with all of the debate, discussion and conversation. It is well worth it. Abby, Mr. Ince,
Chambers,
Oliver,
the man,
it's been a dream.
Signing out, bro.
the man.
See you tomorrow.
Come on, Wales.
They say life is a game, gotta have your goals. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball. Always wanna stop me when I'm running the ball.